And the incredibly generous $100 donation. Please show some love to Jay down below. Daniel, what is going on, man? You're on the live. How are we doing? Walking the dog?
Hey, I'm back in.
You're back in. Have you been up here before?
Yes.
Have we debated before?
Well, no, I was on here like an hour ago, and then there's mic feedback.
Oh, okay. Are you MAGA?
Yes.
Okay, great. Before we hop into your debate, I have a couple more people to thank on top of Jay. Megan, thank you so much for the $5 on PayPal saying that the debate with Owen was so well done. Thank you so much for the love. That's incredibly kind of you, Megan. As well as Bridget, thank you for the $20 over on PayPal saying use this to get yourself a big bottle of Advil. You're going to need it after talking to this goober. Dude, I'm honestly, I need a lot of Advil out of talking to like 99% of these people. Thank you for the love, Bridget. Let's get 200 Bridget W's down below in that chat. As well as Abigail, thank you for the $5 over on Venmo and Ellie with it too. I appreciate you guys so much. And take it away, Daniel. Tell us why you support Trump.
Yes, I support him mainly because of his immigration and.
Oh, jeez. You're kind of like knocking around a lot. You need a second to kind of.
No, I'm good. Sorry, I had to let the dogs in.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, mainly because his immigration and I'm a truck driver, so a lot of people that they're illegally are driving trucks, and it's affecting our industry. And so I'm in favor of that. And then abortion. I'm pro-life.
Okay, so no, people that are in America with the status of being undocumented do not work as truck drivers. No, you have to have documentation to work as a truck driver in America.
Yes, you do, but it's happening.
It's not happening, man. Okay.
Is there a way?
And by the way, if it is happening, they are doing something that is so totally incredibly illegal, and it is already being actively enforced and acted upon by law enforcement officials every single day.
It is, and
it is not just illegal, but it is enforceably illegal. Undocumented immigrants are not working as truck drivers in America.
Is there a way I could link to you the stories?
Link to me a story about what? What do the stories tell us?
Well, like what's going on? Like there's a lot of non-English speaking truck drivers, and
Jesus Christ,
they're being they are. I'm not making this up.
Jesus Christ,
and that is that's a rule to get your license. You have to speak English. So, and because I can't speak English, there's a lot of accidents happening.
Okay, we have a couple.
And
things
I know
to go
I saw
over.
someone say
the first thing that we have to go over is just because somebody can't speak English doesn't make them an undocumented migrant.
No, it doesn't. That's not what I'm saying.
Why the hell did you say it does?
I was just also making that another point.
So it's a completely new point. Okay. So did you know that in order to be a licensed CDL in America, you have to be able to read English?
Yes, you do. But that's not happening. And there's like over 100,000 people.
It is happening. Because guess what language the CDL tests are in?
English, but listen.
So every single person in this country that has a CDL license can fluently read English. Now, what do you need?
No, they can't. You're lying. You are lying. They cannot.
Yes, they absolutely can, or else they wouldn't have been able to pass the CDL test. And then also, I want it to be known that A, there is not a difference in the level of traffic incidents or accidents amongst professional CDL drivers based upon their ability to speak or to not speak English. And this is for two reasons. The first reason is because A, you just need to be able to read English in order to read road signs. And B, the way in which road signs are designed in America is for anybody to be able to follow them regardless of their ability to read the language. So that's why road signs in America often will use symbols to indicate different actions. Okay? Not only for professional CDL drivers that can't speak English, but for Americans that can't speak English, for tourists that can't speak English, for people that will fly in from France and get a week-long motorcycle rental. Right? They can't speak English. They still follow the road signs because of the symbols. Okay? So that's the way in which the road signs are designed. But I just want to be able to see if you could hold your logic consistent here. Are you a man that likes to go on vacation?
I am.
Okay, where do you like to vacation to?
I go to North Carolina. Just came back from Punta Cana.
And anywhere outside of America?
Punta Cana.
Where's that?
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic. So do you think it should be legal when you're in the Dominican Republic to rent a moped to hang out and to drive around while you're traveling?
A moped is different from a commercial vehicle. I'm not saying
anything that could drive on the roads. A moped, a
commercial
bike,
vehicles are different from
a
passenger
truck, a
vehicles.
car. Do you think that it should be legal for you to rent any of those in the Dominican Republic while you're there? Yes
No,
or no?
and I don't think that should be the case here either.
So you don't think that you should be legally allowed to rent them?
No, you could rent them, and you could rent them here. If you're coming to this country, you don't speak English, you could rent a moped, a car. I'm talking about commercial vehicles. That's completely different. So I would not say I could go to the DR and drive tractor trailers there because I can't read the road signs.
Oh,
I don't.
Everybody with a professional CDL license in America can read the road signs.
That's not true.
It is.
People are getting CDLs handed to them, and a lot of drivers don't even have CDLs.
Oh my god. Okay, if they don't have a CDL, then they're not a professional driver.
And no, they're not. But they're finally. Trump put in an executive order like a week or two ago.
So can you? Okay,
reiterating
I'd like to
people
clarify once again that you've been lying to us. You have to be able to read English in order to be a licensed CDL driver.
I know. Yes, I know that's been a law, but it's not been enforced.
Oh my God! Can you please listen to me?
Okay.
It has been enforced. Do you want to know how it's been enforced?
How?
Because the CDL tests are in English. How would you be able to take a test that you can't read?
Can I tell you? Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Because you could use mega carriers, hire drivers, and they let them take the test in their native language. It is true. You don't have to believe me. Look it up. I'm not making this up. I've been in this industry 15 years.
So wait, then how come we don't see higher accident rates amongst amongst drivers because of like their either immigration status or their ability to speak?
There was one in Colorado.
That's not true. We do not see discrepancies in accident rates. That's not true at all.
But there was a case in Colorado. The guy went down a mountain, couldn't read the road signs for the truck ramp, and killed 4 people.
Okay, hey, you're just fucking lying. Okay, his brakes.
No, I'm not.
out.
Look
Yes,
it up.
bro. I live in Colorado. Okay, this was
you know
the
what I'm
only
talking
thing that I heard about on the news for a month here. So A, you're just fucking lying. His brakes went out. B, it is the case that you can't point towards one example to indicate a generalization about what is true of an entire population. Okay, right? So more so, I'm asking you for evidence to indicate that on the macro scale nationwide, that there's higher levels of accidents amongst individuals that can compared to those that can't speak English.
I'm trying to give it to you, but you just muted me, and that accident that happened in Colorado.
So you gave me an instance of one case, and it was even a misrepresentation of that one case.
Listen, can I, if I'm on my phone, if I exit out of the TikTok app, is it going to close the conversation?
No, you'll be able to come back onto the.
Because there's one like every week.
I just won't be able to hear you.
Then don't worry about it. I just asked you to look it up on your own time.
I did because I've had the same debate one other time.
Yeah.
Okay, it is rare and it is not often that I will have racist truckers come onto this live and say that they support Trump because they're a racist trucker, but it's happened before. Okay, and the last time, yes, I absolutely am.
Of course you are.
Right. The reason why I'm calling you racist is because you equivocated people that can't speak English to being undocumented immigrants, and then you're holding unjustified prejudice against individuals that can't speak English merely because they can't speak English, but for no other reason whatsoever. Of course I'm going to call that racism. Are you kidding me? Like, if that's not racism, what is racism? Holy fuck. All right. But that aside, it's important to point out that I have had this conversation before, and I did look it up. There is no... there's no difference in propensity for accidents amongst professional drivers and their residency status, their immigration status, or their ability to speak or not to speak English. I've already done the research. There's no evidence to justify your claims. You're telling me to look it up. I already have.
You're just lying to your audience, but that's okay.
So then prove that I'm lying by giving me the evidence.
I can't, because I can't pull up the stats on my phone right now because it will mute me.
Oh, you can't go pull up the stats and then come back? Unmute yourself and then give me the source? You can't do that?
You want me to do that?
Yes, I do.
I'm not saying again that there's a higher accident rate for undocumented people, but any accident is too many because they shouldn't even be driving the trucks. Also, like you said,
undocumented migrants are not working as professional CDL drivers.
They're not professional, but they are working illegally in trucks for themselves. They're working for. There's these carriers everywhere that pop up and they run as many drivers as they can. Then they get shut down. They open up new DOT numbers. I mean, it's happening in our industry.
But I just want to clarify, even if what you're saying right now is true, this doesn't concern Trump at all. Why? Because it's illegal. They get pulled over, they go to jail. If they got pulled over while Biden was president, they'd go to jail. If they got pulled over during Trump's first term, they'd go to jail. If they got pulled over under Obama, they'd go to jail. If they got pulled over under Bush, they'd go to jail. If they got pulled over under fucking Clinton, they'd go to jail. Just like when they'd get pulled over under Trump's second term, they'd go to jail. So how is the idea that some undocumented immigrants break the law and drive relevant at all to you supporting Trump?
Undocumented immigrants cannot get a CDL in this country. I understand that.
Andrea, boom. Andrea, hop in the queue. Hop in the queue. I've been waiting for this moment, Andrea. It is your time to fucking shine, okay? Opportunity fucking meets preparation. Andrea, hop in that queue for me. You guys are about to see a brutal beatdown and destruction. Andrea, I'm waiting for you to hop in that queue, okay? I'm waiting for you to hop in the queue. Please, 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 please join the guest request right now. I will bring you up onto the stream and start spamming the chat as well. You guys are about to see the beatdown of a lifetime. I mean, this is going to be brutal. I almost feel bad for this guy. Everyone, just give us a minute to get Andrea up in here.
Can I give one more point?
Well, how about we just have Andrea address and respond to everything you've said so far? Andrea, the mic is now yours.
Thanks, Dean. I have been waiting for this as well. So is it Daniel? Is that your name? I just want to make sure I'm getting that right.
Yeah, and while you talk, I'm just going to look some stuff up. So I know what Dean said that might mute my mic.
No, we've now just completely shifted what we're
I
going to be doing on this live.
want to make sure that you're here for this and paying attention. Because let me first, before we go any further, I always feel like it's important that I lay out my credentials to be able to say the things that I'm about to say. My family and I, we own 2 trucking companies. I have been running them since I was in college. I would love to tell you how old I am, but that feels awful. But it's been a very long time. I co-founded the largest wholly social media-based trucking advocacy group in the country. One of the 2 petitions that was written that got hours of service changed, which is the regulation that you follow every single day. I wrote one of those.
I don't know what that has to do with.
I also sat on panels, multiple panels, and gave heavy input on the recent change in 2019 and 2022 to the entry-level driver training requirements. So, sir, I would like to let you know that, in fact, undocumented migrants, undocumented immigrants, and undocumented anything, whatever you want to call them, if they are not a United States citizen, the United States will not issue them a commercial driver's license. Now, could they have a domiciled commercial license from another country and come into our country? Yes, absolutely. But that is for specific loads or for specific projects or specific periods of time. In addition, there is not a single CDL test in the United States since the 80s that by law has been allowed to have been administered in a different language. Now, let's go to the executive order. No, absolutely not. I'm not done yet. No. So the executive order that you referenced only achieves a few things. One, it is to implement the law that is already on the books. The law that has been on the books since the 80s, that you have to be able to read, write, and understand English to receive a CDL and to operate a commercial vehicle. The other thing that the executive order aims to achieve is that an officer is to conduct a field test at roadside to test proficiency for English And if that officer deems that that driver isn't proficient enough in English, can put said person out of service. I would like for you to tell me, and I don't want you to answer anything else. I want you to answer this very question. What does an out of service criteria that allows a driver to be put out of service for not being able to speak English, what does that achieve? That's the only question that I want answered. What does that achieve?
What does that achieve? It gets people that can't read our road signs, can't talk to. Their English.
No. I want you to answer that question.
I'm trying to.
Putting a driver that a officer subjectively says can or cannot read, write, and understand English, putting them out of service for a period of 10 hours. What does that achieve?
Well, if they get to drive again in 10 hours, that achieves nothing.
That's exactly right. Thank you. That achieves absolutely nothing except giving DOT officers the ability to put people out of service, which negatively impacts their CSA score, which could negatively impact the premium that they pay for insurance. And let's say that they get pulled over in, let's say Illinois, which is a get legal state. How the fuck is somebody supposed to learn English to satisfy an officer in a period of 10 hours? To then just be allowed to go at the end of 10 hours because they've satisfied their out of service criteria. You're right. It achieves nothing. What it does is it, no, I'm not done yet. I'm not done. What it does is it allows officers to be fucking racist.
It does.
You're right. So what, again, tell me is the issue here, because what we need to be doing is we need to be enforcing the laws that are already on the books and be proactive about ensuring that before we issue CDLs, not after, but before we issue CDLs, that these drivers can in fact read, write, and understand English. That's what we need to be doing. Those laws have been on the books since the 80s. They were additionally in 2019 and 2022. Ask me how I know, because I gave input on all of this to the Department of Transportation. I
don't know why we're debating. I agree with you.
Then tell me again why you think that it is such an issue that we have all these non-English speaking drivers out there that are causing more accidents and that are, you said, impacting your industry and taking your jobs. Well, what about the study that's put out by the American Trucking Association every single year? And for the past 5 years, we have been short anywhere between 50 to 80,000 drivers. You mean those jobs that the immigrants are taking? Those jobs that we've been short for years? No, that's not it. If you're talking about wages, well, if you own your own truck, you are the one that accepts the wage that you get. If you don't own your truck and you're working for a company that pays you too little, go get another job. Remember those 50 to 80,000 jobs that I was telling you about that were short?
I can read you some news stories right now that I just looked up really quick if you want to listen.
I mean, I'll listen, but I can probably debunk them, and you'd have to tell me what sources they come from. Because if you're telling me that they're coming from OIDA or CCJ or Freight Waves or Overdrive or something like that, no.
I just want to reiterate real quick, Daniel, you being able to specifically point out one or two circumstances of drivers that don't speak English getting into an accident doesn't make your claim that if you don't speak English as a driver, you're more likely to get in an accident true. Can you admit that?
Yes.
Okay, so then what is the purpose of these
Prove it.
errors?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
So what
was the last point you said?
What news stories do you have, and what purpose do they serve?
Well, it's about companies hiring illegal. I mean, it's nothing to do with English speaking, but it goes to illegal, where companies are hiring illegal truck drivers.
Companies cannot hire illegal immigrants because they don't have a commercial driver's license.
Legally,
and then listen real quick.
Illegally.
You're just saying that they're illegally hiring.
No, they can't put them on the road because they would have to be put into a drug pool and into the drug and alcohol clearinghouse. Your credentials have to be legally entered into the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse for the Department of Transportation, and those credentials are your commercial driver's license. If you don't have one of those, you can't be put into the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse, meaning you can't get a drug test, which is pre-employment drug testing, which means you can't go on the road. That's not real.
You're not listening to me. And
I heard everything you said.
You're talking over me and keep muting me. And I'm saying, yes, they can't legally do that, but it's happening illegally.
What is
These
Donald
companies
Trump?
are taking
How's
advantage.
Donald Trump going to do anything about this that isn't already being done?
He shut down the border.
Okay. Well, we'll have a conversation about immigration after you respond to Andrea absolutely whooping your ass as it relates to trucking.
Really
specifically.
didn't. She just said stuff that I already agree with.
I could think of one thing that she said that absolutely whooped your ass. You said that there are some professional CDL tests in which are issued in languages other than English. She whooped your ass by specifically, describing the fact that since the 80s, there's not been a single test issued by anybody that was legally allowed to be in any language but English.
Not by the DMV. You're correct in the DMV, but these bigger companies, she should know if she's in the industry, are putting these CDL tests in other languages so these drivers can pass so they could abuse them.
Wait, who controls the CDL test?
Big companies are not the ones that are issuing CDLs.
It's the DMV.
They might be the...
Even I know this. I'm not a professional driver. I just drive a car, and I know that in order to get a license to be on the road, you get it from a United States DMV.
But here's the thing. You could do the written test through these companies.
No, you cannot. No, you have to do it through a training provider. These regulations changed in 2019 and 2022. There is 3 portions of CDL testing. There used to be 2, where you used to have to, you didn't have to. You could have just gone to the DMV and taken the moving portion of the test. But there are some companies that did require classroom training. Not all companies didn't. For example, my father never took any sort of training because he had a chauffeur's license. My brother, for example, never took a day of training. He just went to the DMV and was able to take the moving portion of the test to get his commercial driver's license. All of those things changed in 2019 and 2022 when new entry-level driver training requirements, which is found in 49 CFR 395, 49 CFR 395 is where it's found in the federal regulations. But what it did is it took the training regulations and ensured that every person has to take 3 sections, I guess, of training before you go and are able to be issued a CDL. The first one is classroom training. You are required to take classroom training. It is only to be delivered in English. The test is only to be delivered in English, and not a single portion of that testing can be conducted in any language other than English. Then you proceed on closed course training. That trainer cannot give any of that training or any corrections in anything other than English. Then you go into open road testing where the same requirements apply. Those training regulations exist. They are there.
I already know.
Daniel, what
what
is your input specifically responding to what Andrea shared with us?
Because did you hear about the Massachusetts state troopers that got arrested for bribery because they're accepting bribes from people to give them their CDL? This is what's happening.
Okay, so can you
law.
respond specifically to what Andrea said? Because I don't want to waste her time. I want to make sure what she says is responded to.
Oh, I'm here, Dean. It's fine.
With
Don't
what
worry
she's
about
saying. And she's right. I'm not saying she's wrong, but there's illegal activity happening where people are getting
okay. Well, we'll have a conversation.
That's a different issue, though.
Yeah. So Daniel, she's right.
That's a completely different issue, sir.
That is a different issue.
That's completely different.
And we could talk about that, Daniel. If you just give me a second, Daniel.
Okay.
So that's a completely different issue, and I'll talk to you about that. Me and Parker will talk to you about that. Okay. The reason why we have Andrea up in the live right now is to specifically correct you on your claims as it relates to what is legal. All right. As it
I know
relates
it's
to your
legal.
claims about things that are illegal that are happening, that's where like me and Parker can come in. We could have a conversation about immigration. We can have a conversation about the state of undocumented immigrants working in America, etc. But do you have
Okay.
anything else that you want to say that relates to something Andrea could answer and respond to of what is illegal?
Well, no, because I agree with what she's saying, and she's right. I'm not debating. Like
Okay.
what she is saying is correct.
Perfect. Okay,
And I agree
Andrea,
with her.
I think he's being very bad faith. I think he's very obviously shifting the goalposts. One of the very first things he said when he came up here
I'm not a
was that it
debater.
was, one moment, is that it is legal to get a driver's test in a language other than English, but he is now affirming, he's conceded to what you've said, and he's just now merely arguing that illegal things happen. So me and Parker, we'll kind of just take back over on that. We're going to have a conversation with him about immigration, I'd presume. And I really appreciate you for your time. And I think it's very awesome that you're so passionate about this.
Absolutely. And I am more than happy that if anybody has questions about the trucking industry, I can most definitely, if I don't know the answer, I know somebody that does. But at the end of the day, what really needs to be what the groundwork that really needs to be laid here is enforcing the laws that are already on the books. If bribery is happening, that doesn't mean that English wasn't the requirement to be given issued a CDL. If accidents are happening, that doesn't necessarily mean, and we have no evidence to prove that non-English speaking drivers are causing more accidents. That the data just doesn't exist. These are racist talking points that people want to vilify the trucking industry over. Thank you for your time, Dean. If you ever have any other questions about trucking, again, I will just spam you until you bring me back up.
Whenever trucking comes up on the live, hop in the queue. You'll be the first person I accept. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Sure. Thanks. You too.
Everybody, please show some love to Andrea down below in that chat. Now, as it relates to you, Mr. Daniel, okay, why do you support Trump? Because it sounds like everything that you just said insofar as what he's changing about the laws on the books isn't true. Okay, you've always had to understand and be able to read English in order to get a professional CDL license. So why do you support him? Also, welcome in, Parker. You're on mute, Daniel. You'll have to unmute yourself while you're figuring that out. I'd like to thank Noah for the $100 super chat over on the YouTube stream. Noah says he's a solid racist. Yeah, that's obvious. Thank you for the $100, Noah. Let's get 1,000 Noah W's down below in that comment section for the 100 big ones. Holy shit. As well as Desi with the $10 saying, Hitman, let's stop spewing hate towards women who are right. Thanks. And then Hitman with a 10 pounds, the 20 pounds, another 20 pounds. While I do appreciate you with another 20 pounds, with another 20 pounds, while I do appreciate you for in total over like 110 pounds in donations on YouTube Super Chat, I think Desi is right. I don't think that she was awful at all. I think that she was educating about something she's very passionate about. And I believe that does deserve to be pointed out. And Noah, thank you for the $20, and I learned a lot from her. Thank you. So do I. Every time we have Andre up, she cooks. Every time she's up, she definitely cooks. As well as Grandpa, thank you so much for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat, and then Nina with the $10 as well. I'm all caught up over there now. I'd also like to thank Ellie with a $1 on PayPal, Megan with a $5, as well as Eric with a $15 over on Venmo. Let's get 150 W Erics down below, as well as Ellie with a 2 and Abigail with a 5. If you're watching and you'd like to support me, you can find my Venmo, my PayPal, and the link tree in my bio. Everybody, I do appreciate you so much for the love. Thank you guys so much once again. And if you are watching on YouTube and you'd like to support me, the same systems exist. You can find my Venmo, my PayPal in the pinned message on the YouTube stream. Now, Daniel, are you still with us?
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone.
I sent you an invite.
Don't want to cut anyone off.
Right. Okay, there we go. So while I looked real quick, and there's many states that offer Spanish translations for the CDL test. You could Google that real quick and see what I'm talking about.
Okay. I'll look into that while you tell us why you support Trump.
So you want to know the reason? I'm pro-life.
Okay, you want to talk about that? But take it away. Talk to Parker about why you're pro-life while I look this up about the
Sure.
CDL translation.
I believe life starts at conception. And okay, I just want to say too that there's certain exceptions.
Okay. Oh wait, I'm so sorry. I've already looked it up. Yeah. So some states will often like the written portion of the CDL test in Spanish, meaning that you could write down your responses in Spanish, right? However, right, the skills test must be taken in English. So
The skills
basically,
test.
what that means is that still yet in all 50 states, it is a federal requirement that yes, you must be able to read English.
The skills test is not. You don't even have to talk during the skills test. All you're doing is driving.
Yeah, you have to read the road signs, which is kind of the point. It must be
But
taken
they
in
teach-
English.
But they teach you, like the school teaches you the route, so you know the route, and they have a Spanish teacher telling you, like where to stop.
No,
They're
the
teaching you.
examiner
But that's
gives you
besides the
verbal instructions to
But-
follow, and those verbal
Okay, but
instructions
that's-
must be administered in English.
But that's beside the point because you guys
It's
should
not
shit on me
besides the
saying-
point because you have to be able to understand, read, and be able to understand vocally English in order to be a
Well, then why
licensed
did-
CDL in all 50 states.
Well, then why do they offer the written test in Spanish?
Because some individuals can understand English,
they
can
can.
read English, but can't write English. Okay, and basically, they
Ah.
deem the two skills that are required to be a necessity insofar as safe conditions of driving to merely be one's ability to understand English and to read English. But they do not deem one's ability to speak English or write English themselves as a necessary requirement for safety on the road, and which I'd be inclined to agree with. I don't think that the ability to speak or write English is necessary at all in order to be a safe driver. However, obviously, all 50 states have agreed that in order to be able to understand and read English is in order to be a licensed professional CDL.
I just want to respond to somebody that said, "How does this
No,
school
I
know
want
the
you to
route?"
respond to me.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I just said what I just said is what I want you to respond to.
Sorry. Can you repeat? But just a
You
quick
weren't
point.
listening. I will repeat it for the last time. In all 50 states, you have to be able to understand English and read English. But you don't have to be able to speak English or write English. And I think that's fine because understanding and reading English, in my eyes, is kind of the bare necessity, is like all that you need if you're going to be a professional licensed CDL. And that's something all 50 states have agreed on. But the ability to speak or write English is not required and not necessary at all. And I don't understand why it would be.
I have to look back. I'm pretty sure you have to be able to be fluent in English and be able to read it and write it. But can we just move on to abortion because we're
No, because
Up
I
and
just debunked your claim.
no, you didn't.
Yes, you did. You said that you don't have to
debunked
be
your
able to
claim.
read and understand English to be a licensed professional CDL in all 50 states. That's not true. You do have to be able to read and understand English in order to be a licensed professional CDL in all 50 states.
You and the other girl just went on with me about 10 minutes saying they don't offer tests in Spanish, and I just showed you that they do.
You're just being intentionally dense at this point. As I already said, the section of the test in which is not required to be in English in all 50 states is the written portion where they could write their responses in Spanish. But they still have to be able to still necessarily understand English and read English for the driving test, where they have to be able to recognize and take verbal instructions from the instructor.
Okay. Listen, I'm not going to keep debating with this with you
Because there's no debate to be had, because I'm giving you the facts.
No, because the facts are they have Spanish-speaking instructors that.
What did I just say?
I heard what you said, and
Wait, so you just said a fact is that they have Spanish-speaking instructors? No. The instructor must be speaking in English. It is always administered in
they're
English.
bilingual.
But the road test is always administered in English. That is a
Can I
federal
just
law.
say, your chat is doxing me now and sending me text messages and calling me. Just so you know.
How do they get your number, bro?
I have no idea.
Don't do that, Chad. Don't do that. But respond to what
Don't
I'm
do
saying.
that. Yeah, that's diabolical.
Stop.
Listen,
Dude, don't do that, Chad. I'm just being serious. I'm being serious. Don't do that.
Like the number that I heard the text messages.
Yeah, me too. So I believe it. I actually believe what you're saying. I heard the text messages.
I mean, this is the problem that we have, though, and I agree it's on both sides. Where you try and debate online, then people want to dox you and like harass you.
Okay,
for
dude,
just
the more you
telling-
talk about it, the more it's going to happen. Chat, if you're a friend of
Okay.
mine, don't dox him, but respond to what I'm saying, please. Dude, how could they have possibly found his number? He doesn't have anything on his account. He doesn't have any posts.
sorry,
He doesn't
I
have
was
any like connected social media accounts. He hasn't like spoken about where he's from. He has like no posts. He has no bio either.
There's no way they were connected, bro. I'm sorry. What?
Dude, yo, that's actually kind of nuts. Yeah, I got the FBI doxing you on this shit. Holy fuck. Okay.
I mean, I'm not scared of them or anything. I could block them, but it's just annoying, and it happens on both sides. I agree with that, and it shouldn't. I'm trying to have a good faith debate. I'm not a debater. The
Okay,
thing is,
I
I'm
don't
just-
think you're good faith, but I don't agree with you being doxed. either.
Listen, I'm trying to be. And I'm coming at you as somebody who like sees the issues with the industry. I might not be 100% right in what's going on. I might be wrong, and I'm talking to you to try and learn too. And listen, I was a hardcore lefty, and then I switched to the right. I shouldn't even say the right. I'm trying to be like more in between.
Okay, so respond to what I just said, and then we can move on to abortion.
Can you repeat it? Because the whole texting thing kind of...
In order to be a licensed professional CDL driver in all 50 states, you have to be able to understand English and read English.
I agree.
Perfect. Abortion time. Why are you pro-life?
I believe life starts at conception.
Me too. So why do you think that women shouldn't be able to access abortion?
Well, it depends what they're accessing it for. If it's just because they made a bad choice, I think we need more education in this country, and I think birth control should be more easily accessible so this doesn't happen, whether it's condoms or pills or anything. I don't agree with just terminating life just because you made a bad choice.
Okay, why not?
Because it's a life. It's a human life.
Do you think it's wrong to end life?
Yes, it's wrong to end life.
Okay, are you vegan?
I'm not animal. Okay, you're trying to do well, you're vegan. No, I'm not vegan.
Okay,
I'm talking about human life.
So it's
I'm
wrong
not talking
to
about
human
animal
life.
I'm not human life.
Okay, so you said that you just agree with birth control, right?
Yes,
And is an IUD a form of birth control?
and I agree with it. I'm not 100% abortion.
But IUDs kill human lives like all the time.
I know they kill the zygotes. They don't let it attach to the wall.
Precisely my point. So why is it wrong to kill a human life if it's a fetus, but not if it's a zygote?
Well, the zygote prevents the pregnancy from growing.
What?
I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The what was it called?
Zygote, an IUD, they kill the zygote?
No, IUD. The IUD.
So once again, the
prevents
question that I'm asking you is, why is it wrong to kill a human life if it's a fetus, but it's not wrong to kill a human life if it's a zygote? What's different between the fetus and the zygote that makes the fetus valuable, but not the zygote?
I think the zygote is still valuable. And listen,
But now we have a contradiction, because if you're saying that the fetus is just as valuable as the zygote because they're both human lives, well then why do you think it's wrong to kill one but not the other? That doesn't make any damn sense, Daniel.
No, you're right. And you know what? So then I don't think we should do IUDs then.
So it's murder. So you think it's wrong to kill a zygote?
I think it's wrong
Wait.
to end a life that is growing.
Hold on. Can I just ask the chat real quick? Anyone in the chat have an IUD? Type 3 in the comment section. Daniel, do you think all of the people who are typing 3 in the comment section in about 2 or 3 seconds, do you think every single one of them should go to prison?
Can I just say your chat is now trying to dox my business and they don't know anything about it.
Do you just want us to move on to the next guest?
Yeah, that'd be the best way.
I'm a big boy. But I just want you to call it out. But
Yeah, we definitely disagree with doxing anyone and going and finding their information.
Nah, I just understand how the internet works. You talk about getting doxxed, you'll get doxxed more, regardless of what me and Parker say. So I'm going to remove you from the live just so you're not getting doxxed more. Let's go and get the next guest up in the live at this point, y'all.